All right, everybody, welcome to the cricket party. As you know, this isn't Cam, this is Whitney. But we just finished watching the end of Hello Neighbor, a little indie game that you guys might have heard of. We actually have played through Act 1, but somebody couldn't wait to watch the end of it. So, and we suck at it. So, we tried to get through as far as we could, and we got to Act 2, and it gets rough. Act 3 only gets even worse, but that's okay. So, we wanted to discuss kind of the end and kind of the implications of the end. So, if you haven't finished Hello Neighbor or just want to know about it, this is kind of the video for you. So I'll just kind of go over the ending, and then I want to ask like what you think about it. So basically, Act 3 is all a dream. So Act 1, you hear somebody screaming and you go and like try and find them. Act 2, the neighbor actively kidnaps you. Act 3, you're an adult. So, between Act 2 and Act 3, at the end of Act 2, you actually get out.
But now, here's the thing. We played up through Act 2.
Correct.
And when we went back and started watching videos on this game, we found out that, like, the neighbor actually lost his family in some kind of car accident. But we don't remember seeing that. So maybe we just overlooked it, but apparently it's somewhere in the beginning of the game.
And, yeah, either at the beginning of the game or the beginning of Act 2, and we totally missed it, you see that the neighbor actually goes through a tragedy here. And it shows him in a car that's been turned over, and then there's like a high heel. So either he lost his wife and his kid, or, you know, just his kid or something like that. But he's kidnapping these children in order to basically make up for it in a way. But you find out that in Act 3, as an adult, you move back to your old house, and the neighbor's house is completely gone. It's obviously been burnt down. And you go and you fall asleep on a couch. You wake up and...
Or you think you've woken up, but you're not really awake.
Correct. So Act 3 is entirely a dream sequence. You wake up and basically the neighbor's house is bigger than ever before. It's huge now. It's more colorful. There's more traps everywhere. There's pipes going all over the place. There's roller coaster pieces, like track pieces all over the place. Whatever.
There's even a shark tank on like the 4th floor.
Yeah, there's a
big old floor of sharks.
Like you step in the water and the shark comes over and eats you. It's crazy. But that's all a dream. And there's also a shadow monster that's like hunting you down, chasing you, all that stuff. Basically, and we've watched some different videos kind of explaining the ending because it's slightly vague. Now that I've explained it a little bit, what do you think happened?
You mean overall, or just like...
What do you think in the end? Like, what do you think Act 3... Obviously, it's supposed to represent, like, you conquering your fears.
Right.
So, if that's the case, what do you think happened to the neighbor?
I mean, from the looks of it, I feel like he either burned his house down and just disappeared, or he burned the house down to kill himself to erase everything without having to face any sort of punishment or...
Because he's gone.
Yeah, he's
like,
nowhere to be.
House is burnt, dude's gone.
But the shadow figure is still there. Which
you're right, that is. And that's in the real world. Okay, so, forgot to mention a piece. At the beginning of Act 3, you can kind of like walk over to where the neighbor's house was, and there's this tendrily dark figure that kind of appears here, and then he's over there, and then he's over here, and it's neat, but it's like, oh man, what's going on? So, obviously that tendril monster is supposed to represent our fear as the child, the player character. I also think it represents kind of the neighbor's fears a little bit, because he definitely, like, was kidnapping children for a reason.
Well, and I think that fear represents everything the game is about, because, you know, even at the very end, the fear is still there, even though the neighbor's gone. You know, even though you're an adult now, you're not dealing with being kidnapped and trapped in this man's basement, the fears are still there and very real.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that's a really neat construct that they go through in Act 3, in that even as an adult, because you're still adult-sized in Act 3, even as an adult, you're still terrified of this neighbor. The cool thing they do, however, in Act 3, as an adult, you have the ability to break away from the neighbor. So as a child, if you get caught, you get sent back to either your house or the basement. As an adult, you can hit the space bar or the A button, whatever console you're playing on or PC, and you can break away from him and throw something at him. So I really like the fact that the game gives you that power. And I think that's representative of kind of what the game is all about. It's all about childhood fears. It's all about power. It's all about the neighbor having power over you as a child. I don't know. I think it's a really cool concept. Is the gameplay executed well? I don't think
buggy.
so. The controls are not optimized. It's very buggy. Like sometimes the neighbor will appear, sometimes he won't. Sometimes he will bullet straight to you, and other times he'll just completely ignore you even though you're right behind him.
Well, that was my biggest complaint, is that the AI was supposed to be learning and watching you, and it seemed still very sporadic and just, if it happened to find you, it happened to find you. It didn't seem like it was learning like they advertised. So
right.
That was frustrating.
And it kind of did in a way. Like, it would set traps. Every time you got caught, it would set traps or set up more cameras so that it could find you easier, things like that. But definitely the learning AI was supposed to be the big draw on this game. And I feel like they got like a C on it. Like a C out of, maybe a C+. I mean, I like the fact that it would set more traps as you went along. I don't love the fact that it didn't truly learn what you were doing. But what do you think? Would you recommend the game?
I would. I like games that keep me on my toes. They're very unpredictable. The nice thing with this game, which can also be frustrating if you don't like playing these games, but you can do one thing to succeed in one part of the house, and you try that same thing on a similar trap or a similar whatever the situation may be, and it won't work. So you just have to keep finding new ways. Everything is always new. You're always learning. You're always trying new approaches. That aspect's fun. The anxiety part is really fun. You never know when you're going to see the neighbor, where it's going to come from. Mm-hmm. You never know when you're going to hit a dead end. I mean, it's just, overall, it's a fun game if you're not expecting it to be purely polished and, a perfected game. So
and I feel like that's my problem with it, is that it doesn't feel finished. It still feels, supposedly this game has gone through like 5 or 6 different alphas. I still feel like we're playing a beta, and that's only a problem for me because I spent $30 on it. If it were like $15, I'd be like, buy it. It's a great $15 game. Is it worth $30 and needed to be printed on discs and sold at Walmart and Target? I don't think so. But I think it's a cool concept, and I really do. I feel like I would recommend it just based on that. But and Whitney really enjoyed like the unpredictability, like she said. But for me, if I'm going to play an unpredictable game, I'm going to play Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, any final thoughts?
I had a final thought, but it just left me.
Just left you? Well, final thoughts for me are going to be just, go into it, have fun, understand that it's not 100% finished, and you'll obviously know that right when you get into it. But go into it with a grain of salt, and I think you'll have a good time.
And I will say, if you don't enjoy games that you have to constantly repeat levels and areas over and over again, this is probably not the game for you. You will get super frustrated. The first time we played with one of our friends, Garrett, and I mean, the very beginning, Act 1, there were some parts in there we did 20, 30 times before we finally got it right and we finally got to move on. So
Absolutely.
Just be ready to spend some time on some things that seem pretty easy, but they can become frustrating the longer you play it. But overall, it's super fun, especially when you're playing with a bunch of people and you can kind of like get scared together and talk about it and try to figure it out. So
Definitely.
Final thoughts. That's all.
All right, well, definitely check out Hello Neighbor. Check out the Cricket Party on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. Give us a shout out. Comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff below. And thank you to Miss Whitney here for joining me on this. And we hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, feel free to give us a like and subscribe. If you didn't like the video, the other button seems to work as well. Thanks again for watching, and we will chirp you in the next one.